Good morning, student. Welcome to the lecture series of mobile application development. Till now, we have done with first 3 units of mobile application development. So this lecture is particularly prepared for the summarization of what we have learned through this journey, that is from unit number 1 to unit number 3. So let's start with the unit number 1, which is Android and its tools. So what we had discussed in unit number 1, what is Android? Android is a complete set of software package and Linux-based operating system for mobile devices such as tablet, computer, notebooks, smartphones, electronic books, readers, set-top boxes, and etc. So right now we know that Android-based televisions are also there. That means smart TVs. Okay, smart mobile phones. So we can just imagine that Android is everywhere. So wherever the smart applications, smart appliances are there, they are basically using the Android operating system. Okay, so it is a complete set of software package. Along with this, it contains Linux-based operating system, middleware, and key mobile applications. Then next feature is that it can be thought of as a mobile operating system, but it is not limited to mobile only, because as we discussed that it is everywhere like mobile phones, like tablets and televisions also. Okay, and it is basically developed by the Google and later on by the Open Handset Alliance, that is OHA. After that, in Android application development, we have two options to write the Android code. That is, first option is your Java language and second option is Kotlin language. Okay. Now next we have seen what is OHA. Now what is OHA? It is Open Handed Alliance. So it is a consortium of 84 companies like Google, Samsung, Synaptic, German, Telka, eBay, Intel, etc. Okay, which was established on 5th November 2007 and later on led by the Google. So it provides services and deploy handsets using Android platform. So whatever mobile phones right now we are using are based on Android, that are all deployed by this particular firm. That means that all are deployed by this particular organization, that is Open Handed Alliance. Okay, so here we have list of companies. So as here we see, it is a consortium of 84 companies. Okay, so it is a list of all 84 companies. So it contains all these stuffs. After that, we have seen the features of Android. Now, which are the features of Android? First one is storage. That means for database, it uses SQLite database, SQLite relational database. Then media support, it includes support for large number of media formats like images, audio, as well as video, like AMR, VB, JPG, PNG, JF, and BMP format. After that, it also supports both SMS and MMS. But right now, people are not using MMS and SMS too much because we are having FB, that is Facebook, Snapchat, Telegram, Instagram, and so on. Okay, but still SMS and MMS facility is there. Then web browser, it also supports different web browsers. It also supports some connectivity like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, WiMAX, CDMA, and etc. Okay, so these are the features of Android that we had discussed in the first unit in detail. Along with these features, it also supports multi-touchscreen, multitask. It also supports flash, then tethering hotspot, screen capture. Right now in our mobile phones, there is a screen capture option also. Gestures, with the help of gestures, we can use the phones without even touching it. So apart from this, there are again variety of features are available for the Android right now. And because right now Android phones are very smart. Now, this is the history of Android that also we are discussed in the first unit. So you can see over here, it is initially started Android 1.0 in the February 2019, February 2009. Then Cupcake, April 2009. And so this is a long journey right from the Android 1.0 to Android 11, which was released in September 2020. Okay, so that image explains the particular history of Android and it contains all the versions of Android. Here I also put another image so you get idea what is going on actually. So as we know that Android is everywhere. So these are the mobile phones. These are the mobile phones from different companies and these mobile phones are using Android like HTC, Motorola, Sony, Samsung, Suno, etc. Also there are some tablets like FlyTouch, Acer, Cisco Android tablet, Toshiba Android Smartbook, Dava D7. So these are the examples of tablets which are working on the Android operating system. Okay, so there are lots of tablets supporting Android. Now the mobile experience, the maturing mobile experience, it means that now the maturing mobile experience, what does it mean? It means that in traditional way we are using phones, pagers, PDA organizers, laptops, some portable music players, but at that time the this much internet facility was not there. But today what we have all these applications on single device, on a smartphone, perhaps the laptop. Okay, now in today's scenario you perform the majority of your work on the smartphones right now. Okay, so you can imagine that what is tomorrow, what will be the future, what will be the future of mobile phones. Okay, so it means that the traditional things are maturing day by day. Okay, so right now we are going from artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and also natural language processing. Okay, so right now in your smartphone also you are getting this particular facility, like majority of applications are using artificial intelligence, machine learning, natural language processing, and all. For example, your Facebook. In your Facebook, your face is also detected. So what is this? It is the artificial intelligence, machine learning. Okay, so imagine that in today's we are at 2021. Okay, so we have all these facilities. So what about when we are in 2030 or 2050? So what will be there? That it means that mobile experiences are maturing day by day. Okay, so let's revise the architecture of Android. So we have seen that at the base of the architecture, there is a Linux kernel. At the base, there is a Linux kernel. So as we know that it is a Linux based operating system. So here in Linux kernel, some basic facilities like what kind of basic facilities it provides, like power management, flash memory, audio driver, Wi-Fi driver, camera driver, display, keypad, and so on. Okay, so all these particular basic necessary functionalities and drivers are available at the Linux kernel. Okay, now next thing it provides variety of libraries. So what type of libraries it can support? That is, it supports WebKit, SQLite, FreeType, Media Framework, Surface Manager. So whatever the touch screens you are going to use, OpenGL for display, SSL and SGL are used for the connectivity. Okay, so all these particular libraries are supported by this library function. Okay, so this is a wonderful thing. We are going to learn in detail that we actually learn in detail in the first unit. So now we have also discussed this how this Android runtime working. So how this Android runtime works? It works by using Dalvik virtual machine and libraries core. Okay, so as in Java, there is a Java virtual machine. Here in Android, we have Dalvik virtual machine, that is Debian. So after that, at the top of this, there is a application framework. And in this application framework, here we have activity manager. Okay, in this application framework, we have activity manager. So as I told you, whenever you open the phone, the first activity is there is a button. Okay, when you click that button, another activity will open. Okay, so these are your two activities that supported by this library, that is activity manager. So activity managers are there, then window managers are there, content provider, view system, then location manager, resource manager, location manager for GPS service. Okay, and next important is notification manager is very important library that we have in our Android operating system. Okay, so whatever the notifications you are getting, like low battery, whenever you receive a new message, whenever you receive a system update message, you receive Facebook messages, messenger messages, that all notifications that you are getting on your mobile screen are done. This work is done by this notification manager. Okay, so all these things are carried out by this notification manager. And then at the top we have applications. Okay, so when you open your phone, you will find your home screen, your contacts, you find your browser, phone application, then you find your camera. So these all applications are running based on this particular architecture. Okay, so this is about the Android application, Android architecture. Now, next thing that we had discussed is the framework for Android development. So here are some Android based application framework. So we can see here NativeScript, Corona SDK, PhoneGap, Ionic, Xamarin is one of the well-known framework. Then Accelerator, React Native. So these all are the particular frameworks for Android development. Okay, so with the use of these, you can create your Android application. Okay, so next, here are some other frameworks which are again useful for the Android development, like Kotlin, then Xamarin, Ionic, Corona SDK, and so on. Okay, like that. So right now in the market and day by day, lots of frameworks are coming up as per the requirement. So these are the lot more tools that we have to develop the particular Android application. Okay. Now next we had discussed in detail Android architecture. Okay, so in the first unit, this Android architecture we discuss in detail, but right now we just summarize it in short. Okay, so at the base, we know that we have Linux kernel. So what is it? Linux kernel is the bottommost and important layer of Android architecture, and it is the core part of Android architecture. Okay, so I told you that all the core functionalities, whatever are there, are resides within the Linux kernel. Then it provides features like security, process management, memory management, device management, and multitasking. Okay, so it is not limited to this, but it is also responsible for level of abstraction between device hardware and upper layer of Android architecture. So it consists of device drivers like camera, flash memory, display, keypad, and Wi-Fi, etc. Okay, so it is responsible for the abstraction between device hardware and upper layers of Android architecture. So all these primary utility drivers resides within the Linux kernel. That means resides at the top of the Android architecture. After that, We have some libraries like SQLite, WebKit, SGL, SSL. Okay, so this library layer consists of a set of libraries and Android runtime. Okay, so at the top of the Linux kernel, we have libraries, and that libraries consist of set of libraries and Android runtime. So this layer consists of Android runtime and the library. After that, now Android component is built using native codes and required native libraries which are written in C++, and most of the libraries are open source libraries like OpenGL. So that kind of libraries. So some of the libraries are open source libraries. Now what is native code? I told you in the first lecture what is native code. Codes which are specific to the operating system are called as native codes. Okay. For example, when you purchase your mobile phones, your phone manager, your contact manager, your camera, these all applications are come up with your phone. It means that the coding for this camera, this phone manager, contact manager is specific to that Android operating system. Okay, so such type of codes are called as native codes. Then also this layer handles data that is specific to the hardware. Suppose Surface Manager is there, so that your device touchscreen and all that. These are the your so this layer handles the data specific to the hardware. Then some of the native libraries are SSL, SQLite, OpenGL, Media Framework, and Surface Manager. So whatever we have seen in our architecture design, this is all about the native libraries and Android runtime. Then next we have Android runtime. Here we have Android runtime, which contains libraries core and Dalvik virtual machine. So it comprises Dalvik virtual machine. We have seen the DVM. What is DVM? DVM is the Dalvik virtual machine, like JVM in Java, DVM in Android. Okay. After that, the bytecode generated by the Java compiler has to be converted to .dex file by DVM as it has its own bytecode. We have seen difference between JVM and DVM. That time we had discussed what is the actual difference between JVM and DVM and how these both are work. Okay, so in here in Java we have .class file. Similarly, in Android we have .dex file. Okay, in Java .class file is the bytecode. In Android .dex file is a bytecode. Okay, that is read by the DVM. Then multiple class files are created as one .dex file, and the compressed.jar file is greater than the compressed.dex file. Okay, so in Java language we have seen up to the JDK, that is Java Development Kit, and in that we have seen the basic functionalities of the programming and all that stuff. Okay, but if you have to go for advanced Java, then you can go for the .jar file. Okay, then what is .jar file? It is nothing but the compiled class file. So like .jar file, the Java uses .class file and Android uses .dex file. After that, we have application framework, which is built on top of the native library layer, provide us with the application programming interface and higher level service. Now, the features of Android operating systems are available to us through APIs written in the form of Java classes. So whatever the programming we are going to perform, we are performing it on Java language. So when we install our JDK and Android Studio, that time we have seen that every time when we create a new project, we select language as Java. It means that whatever the programming we are going to perform in Android Studio, we are performing it in Java language. Okay, but whenever you select Kotlin language, it means that you are going to perform your coding in Kotlin language. Okay, so there are two language options in Android Studio, Java and Kotlin. After that, Android developers use these high-level services to build applications. Then it consists of Android hardware abstraction level that allows Android application framework to communicate with hardware specific drivers. So suppose say there is a camera, there is a GPS, there is a Wi-Fi. So these are the particular hardware specific device. And after that, it acts as an interface for the hardware vendors to implement, and Android applications uses hardware abstraction layer to get commands from different hardware device. Like suppose if you are using another hardware and if you want to connect that, for example, right now we are using OTG, and all that with the use of that, you can connect your mobile phones and you can access the pen drives and all that stuff within it. Okay, so it is also again provides interface between different vendors to implement hardware specific device. After that, here is one more picture. It provides application framework services like activity manager, content provider, resource manager, notification manager, and view system. Okay, this is a separate diagram, but we have seen these all contents in Android architecture. Okay, here in application framework, we have activity manager, window manager, content provider, view system, notification manager, location, and resource manager. Okay, so this is just we are seeing in our architecture design. Then next, now what is the function of each and everything is at the top that application consists. Okay, the following key services are consist by the application framework. That is activity manager. Now what is the function of activity manager? Activity manager class uses testing and debugging methods. Then what is the function of content provider? It provides data from application to the other layers. Then resource manager provides access to non-code resources. Suppose into that some resources are there based on hardware and all that, so that also supports. Then notification manager, the user gets notification about all the actions happening in the background. So suppose whenever you are using your phone and in background your battery level is 10% or your battery is very low, then it will give you the notification that your phone is running out of the battery, or when your system updates are there, it will give you a notification that your system update is available. Okay, or your system is out of date or you have to update your system. So such type of notifications are given by this notification manager. Then view system, it acts as a base class for widgets and is responsible for event handling. So here widgets are our buttons, checkboxes, radio buttons, and all that. Okay. So whenever the button is clicked and whatever you want to perform, it can happen. So specifically this function is done by the view system application framework. Okay. And the next and final layer that we have is the application, which is exists at the top of the Android architecture. Okay, so it is the topmost layer of Android architecture. This layer consists of native Android applications and third-party installed apps. And they are also bundled in Android package, and all the applications that are to be installed and written in this layer only, such as contacts, games, settings, and messages. So these applications are inbuilt applications and these are known as native applications. Okay, so as I told you, native code means what? The code which is specific to operating system. And native applications means what? The applications that are inbuilt in your mobile phone, that are inbuilt in your television. It means that the applications that are come up with your operating system, that are come up with your application, are called as native applications. Okay, so that you can download from your Play Store, and the apps that you can download from your Play Store are known as third party applications. Okay, so I think now you are clear with the difference between what is native application and what is third party application. So we have seen Android architecture. Okay, so this is about the revision of first unit. The remaining topics from the first unit we will cover in the next lecture.